I'm so excited I'm so excited because we're hanging out with the one and only Casmuel Mark Oure.
Let's go.
What's up, bro?
Hey.
Kofisi?
Kabisa, man.
Manze, let me tell you one thing, my brother.
Yeah.
All the interviews I've been watching about you, kwa hizi ma platforms zote, podcasts, mainstream media, unakuanga very sharp, just looking all organized. I'm assuming your thoughts are very organized.
Hopefully, yeah. which is crazy because most of the time it's never the case.
Oh, is it?
I've never been at TCG the most. My thoughts are always all over the place. But I think I think it's a focused world. It makes it absolutely easy to just push the thing because it's one thing you have to focus on. The whole country is focusing on one thing.
But there's a lot that's happening by there. Unajua ni lately, okay, let me just say from last week, kuna vitu mobs because it happened in Kenya. We're talking about cabinet being fired, IG Koome may resign, mwili zilipatikana pale level Kware, Mukuru kwa Njenga, and then also Donald Trump, assassination attempt on his life.
Also,
what else?
Shilingi 7 imeongezeka from IPRA.
Exactly. Kuna hiyo. What stood out for you?
Imepanda too. I think in this past week, contrary to popular opinion, the one that stood out for me is this IPRA thing. Because, when we were agitating for Prezzo to fire his cabinet and not dissolve, he did it, but he didn't do the thing which we expected him to do, because the unconstitutional position is the position of the prime cabinet secretary. Na hiyo bado imebaki. So that's hella interesting, because I mean you could fire, but if you're trying to show us that you're adhering to the constitution, it would be much better if you started with that unconstitutional thing. Donald Trump's attempt on his life, that I can't really speak to, because it's neither here or there. Everyone on socials is like this, saying this and that, but the FBI confirmed that was indeed an attempt. And I think it's just proof.
FBI
like FBI. I don't have a problem, but in my head I'm just like, we can't live in the world where kwa sababu we have differing opinions. I celebrate something bad happening to you. In my head, I just don't think how that's a good thing, and especially if someone uses a gun. Hey bro, staged or not, there's a derangement over there where it feels like now we've politicized human lives so badly that you see that story for when bodies were found in Kware. Maze, I saw a news anchor, and maybe it's just maybe part of the job, how the job works, and this is why we have to kind of decolonize our minds from the shackles of capitalism. Because sorry.
It's all good.
We have to let ourselves go from the shackles. Yani, we are so beholden to the hustle that it has us on a chokehold that unaweza sema that 6 or however many bodies have been found wrapped in sacks, and then after that you promote whatever you're wearing, bro. And then you say this and other stories. It's gotten to the point where
it's just a story.
It's just a story, bro. These are 6 lives. Watu wamepatikana kwa gunia. At what point? Ama nilikuwa nimelala. At what point in the syllabus was the maze? At what point did this become normal? That's what I've been wondering.
But I mean, think about even that story, Shakahola.
Right.
This thing's been happening, bro.
Ifara alikuwa msee alikuwa tuna vibe jo tukakishika akasema kitu ni intrigue. Akasema unajua vitu zingine kaizo ukiangalia vile Kware kunaendelea. Hauwezi sema basi Shakahola ni homa pasta kwa nazika watu.
Wow, that's actually true.
Right.
Ukishangalia tu basi vile mambo inaendelea unapata what if it was the government ambao walikuwa wanafanya shughuli zao na wale tu akasema jina alikuwa watu wameisahau. Wale wajamaa Mombasa sio Kenya. Waliendanga wapi? Mimi niko na what?
Someone has speculate sana sai, and that's quite sad. So when you look at IG Koome's resignation, so it's basically very timely. Ukiangalia vitu zote zina happen.
Right.
So what do you thought?
But you see a guy like IG, it's still again, and it feels like when people listen to us speak, it feels like Gen Z are not being satisfied. But I'll also say why I'm really tired about this thing being called a Gen Z revolution, because it's about damn time we just talked about this thing truly as it is. It's an actual revolution, bro.
Okay.
Because if I say Gen Z, that means I'm locking you out.
Of course.
It's way past the point where we can now just term it a particular group of people. However, IG Koome's resignation for me is timely, but what are these steps? While now, I think now the strategy, if I were to think about it, would be, yes, well, these heads are rolling. as citizens, we start to litigate. So we file cases against them, because there's also a guy, the culprit who I think whose head should have rolled first was a guy called Bungei, the guy who gave the orders, who's in charge of Nairobi at the time. Because if you see those policemen who are shooting at protesters, at peaceful protesters, those guys were not acting irrationally.
Okay.
Those guys were acting in such a surgical manner. Unajua that this one is a person who knows that they are doing the right thing. Yani, they're just following a very particular order. Wanajua tu, sisi mazee hatuwezi ingia ngori kwa sababu these are our marching orders. So yes, his resignation, it comes as a welcome move, it comes as a relief, but then I'm like, a lot of these things, we can't just solve things now by firing people.
So that leads me to my next question. The new resignation is it enough ama anafa kukuwa charged?
I mean, if you've had that much blood in your hands, you're supposed to be charged, because that's a resignation is like a slap on the wrist. Because now you'll get away and you'll just say, okay, fine, I'm not the IG anymore. However, I also do not have the full picture of what's exactly in play, because when you get to certain levels of seniority, a resignation is just really an overglorified fire. So we really can't say, some people say he enjoys due security of tenure, he cannot be fired, but all those kinds of things. But the way I've seen Kenya move recently, there's a lot of like political machinations behind kila kitu tu unapata ikona. There's like a sinister mood. Yeah, kuna siasa tu pahali imechezwa yenye hatuelewi, because we would have seen more. We would have seen by the time the IG resigns, there should have been this amount of pressure. But you see, imekuwa tu young people advocating on social saying, arrest killer cops, arrest these things. DCI guys showing up, giving... DCI wanashika the most random people. Wanapata bangi sijui katikati ya basi yenye inatoka sijui wapi. Wanasema maze, this thing is absolutely illegal, but hawezi shika mse anaua watu.
Na mnajua mali huko.
You think Prezo make your call ya guys ku resign?
To be fair, I can't speculate on what Prezo does or not, because also, yes, I might disagree with him, but the man is a very smart political schemer. You remember also, the first time the Prezo addressed us and called us criminals and treasonous and whatnot, Rigathi also made a parallel speech which talked about like intelligence and what, and so like hearing how government was speaking, you would tell that there could be significant changes around the intelligence and police forces.
Do you think we're expecting more manze vile game inaenda sasa, ukiangalia system vile imekaa hiyo, especially vile hiyo kiti ya cabinet prime secretary iliachwa? Do you think Gen Z wana sababu zaidi za kutokea tu kwa street?
Absolutely. Hata kama hiyo kiti ingekuwa imetolewa, there's still more reasons. There's still very many reasons to go on the streets, because hatuendi kwa streets ati kwa sababu tunachukia a particular person. That's a narrative that I've seen a lot of bloggers try to push. People are trying to make it look like it's Ruto, that we hate this man. We hate the things that he stands for. We hate the things that his government is perpetrating. It's not a tribal thing. You see, when you say, for example, and allow me to take a detour, you can't say ati kwa sababu ati fire all PSs and fire all heads of parastatals, that's an attack on one community. A lot of people have been trying to make it look very tribal, but if you look at it, if you zoom out, let's say like heads of parastatals, out of maybe over 200 parastatals, only about 80 or 81 are like have a profit and loss statement. So those are the ones which are maybe in the business of generating revenue. Ukiangalia out of these 80, not even out of the total, because unapata 40 or 41 come from a particular community. Don't have a problem with you coming from a particular community, but if you think about it, ukiangalia 40 out of 3 inakaa fair, but 41 out of 80 inamaanisha one community has 50% of where we make profits and losses is headed by that kind. And then where they're not heading, unapata they're the head of supply chain management and procurement or HR, that kind of thing. So we still have reasons with heads rolling, and the thing which these heads rolling represent inakuonyesha tu that your change is possible. Me, that's what I used to say. I'm telling anyone, hey bro, our war is still very far from over, because we are fighting one, corruption. The amount of money we lose on corruption alone can sort out all the problems, bro. You guys see no, I don't know if anyone else likes seeing kids hungry. Me, that's a thing that gets me pissed off because I was hungry as a toy. Unaenda shule na uniform zimeraruka. Sisi tuko hapa unakalia like nini chairs. Kuna watoi bado wana share desks, bro.
Bana, bro.
Desks zimevunjika. Sijui wapi na governors wana drive sijui nini. You know those kinds of things. Yes. Corruption, austerity. Austerity ni hiyo kitu yenye utadunini, but then tunaambiananga even as my youth, ukiona beshte yako uko like we uwezi afford hiyo maisha. Una earn this much but unataka kuwa na the best phone, kuishi kwa the biggest house which costs so much.
Mama msupa.
But Prezzo come about na certain austerity measures. Do you think that's enough? Ile story ya Libana amesema Harambee hataki kuzicheki. Amesema there's no funding for the, of course, office of the first lady, second lady, spouse to the prime cabinet secretary. Is that a step in the right direction?
It is, but sijana alikuwa Harambee. Sasa unacheki hizo ndio vitu zingine zinafanya sometimes I cannot trust the political class because again even going back to like this IPRA thing. See, a whole communique was issued on, was it 7th or 8th? Wakasema due to what the Kenyans have said, and tukafanya public participation, tukasema tunataka hii, tutaki hii, and we agreed for this particular levy do not levy it on us. See, IPRA wame announce that imeongezeka by 7 bob. So I feel like a lot of it feels like talk.
Interesting. So what do you think about vile Prezzo amesema, you know, his next cabinet will represent the face of Kenya, watu watamsaidia kufanya Wakenya kazi, you know, they're actually going to help him implement some of the promises he made to young Kenyans. Do you believe him?
Again, you know, this is personal opinion. If he says so, until I see the list that he presents, I can't believe inaweza kwa tu taxi na hata mimi cheki wase nikikuwa Prezzo mazee mimi nitapeleka Kenya mbe until nikuwe Prezzo hautawaijua.
Unajua tumefika ile point yenye sisi wa Kenya, anything that the president says watu wanaona kwa news wanasema damn, tunatenga
tumepanga tumeweka mikakati,
tumeongea.
And the way I look at it, the way I look at it, it's not so much about what he says, but how he says it, and where I feel where his heart is. Because a lot of the time when we started this thing, wasa walikuwa nadharau. Ilikuwa na katu zile vitu zenye Wakenya wao wanafanya, sio you're tweeting, wao mmekasirika, and then now you go, and then people hit the streets, and then people breached parliament, and nini.
Na kasema nakula pilau
sasa. Unacheki wase waka change vitu, and it's gotten to the point where it just feels like even we do not know what it is. The powers that be, unacheki, whenever you see politicians uniting, bro, I think something is deeply wrong. Because these guys thrive on ensuring mimi na wewe hatuoni eye to eye.
So that's a crazy point you just made over there. Whenever you see politicians uniting, something ain't right.
I
want to touch on that in a bit, but let's go back to the police.
Right.
Ukicheki vile hizi ma-protests zilikuwa. By the way, I'm from Kisumu. Na nime-engage kwa ma-protests kadhaa. Bras na kwanga brutal.
Me too.
But whatever I saw in Nairobi was different, man. Wase kwenda parliament, looting ilikuwanga crazy, and then of course we started seeing live bullets being fired, you know, abductions, nini. I mean, if you're talking about protests getting to those levels, so how do you expect police to react? How would you expect police to deal with civilians? You know, wakianza kuona watu wana threaten kwenda hadi State House. It's a very peculiar situation to be in as a police officer.
It's very true, but I expect them to react in a disciplined way. Unajua,
which is how?
So I'll explain. When we were out protesting, remember, it's very important for us to remind the general public that we are protesters, not rioters.
It's our right to protest.
Yes. And a lot of the time, people try to make it look like we are rioters. Because rioters ndio hawa wase wenye wanakuanga unlawful, rowdy.
But say waga. They always just turn up. There's always going to be those people.
Absolutely. But to be fair, you can very well identify a rioter, and you can identify a protester. Even with the events of the day that people breached parliament, that could have been handled way better. Police are supposed to behave like this. This is why I'm in my head, I will not fault the citizenry. If a cop should only use enough force to prevent damage, a cop's force should not be provocative. It should be defensive. And it, like, hafai atakuwa anatembea na baton, hawafai kuwa wanatembea na weapons. But if they happen to hurt a person who's protesting, they are supposed to provide health support, medical support.
Interesting.
So karao akikugonga na rubber bullet ama umegongwa ukaanguka chini na karao, the police are the ones who are supposed to be getting you help.
Okay.
But for
hapo help ndio kuchukua na kupeleka sasa shauri moyo,
wanakupeleka
centro.
Unacheki hivyo ndio hasa wanakuwa.
Huwezi goje.
And absolutely, and sometimes you find
saka wale walirusha nini tear gas kwa wase, walikuwa watu wameumia, wameka pale kamali ka tutendo na sindika hapo, wanarusha tear gas huko
papo hapo.
Ama corona fadu you already say watu wamelia sana, ama kila cops nini. Do you think hiyo boy inaenda mahali kweli?
IPOA has proven to us that hawako interested in
IPOA
unacheki
imani ya watu na IPOA
iko chini maze. Tumeandika vitu, tumesiti ndani ya suggestion box nini, tumejaribu kuwa tag kwa vitu. They're just doing the things that they want. No amount of training is going to reform this police force. Iki tunataka one, tuwapatie examples. Just the way unafanyanga na watu. Mtu akikama hapa ana vandalize vitu, anashikwa, alafu unaonyesha watu wengine wenye wanataka kufanya hivyo ndio nini, and then you continue training. But wanafikirianga tu everything needs to be sorted out by training, and that's the problem I have with them. And you'll realize the time that we were protesting when they brought the military on the streets, we realized that these military guys are so chill. So tulikuwa tunaenda polisi wakitusumbua, tunaenda tunajificha hiyo side ya military. Tunaona mkimba anje kwa sababu hawezi mshatia gas hapo, hawezi sumbua. Sijui military walienda wapi, but military ilikuwa such a vibe.
I think the executive was some guys pull out the military. They're chilling too much.
At the military ilikuwa such a vibe.
Yo, let me ask you something, Casmo. But how do people refer you? Cas. That's what's up.
Cas.
I call him Cas. So you're Cas.
I'll take it.
So let me ask you, Kicheki, now back to your previous point, Ulisama. Whenever you see politicians, the opposition, and Gava, you unite. Questions. Unafaa kuuliza maswali.
Ujishuku. Hata wewe mazee sai hata sikoshoka ni Monday. Hao sawa naelewana bro. Sisi bado tunapigana. Kuna msee mazee anaona niko kwa hii show. Ana feel tu mazee ni nini umse yako up to nini.
Mazee jo uko right juu hata kuna mtu ameniandikia hapa ati why you mbona wewe ndio kila saa unapatiwa mazima.
So kabla ujibu
sasa nikamwandikia hapo unadhani ni kwa nini?
Nilikuwa nakuuliza previous statement again. So where does this leave Gen Zs? Ama young Kenyans wakicheki Rao, who's the face of the opposition, and Ruto standing together,
coalition,
working on a grand coalition. Where does this leave young Kenyans? Ama niseme Gen Zs?
Bro, it leaves us united.
Lakini Gen Z hakuna leader. So kutendaje hapa na tuwezi simama nyinyi wote.
And how you unite without a leader? So let's talk about that. What do you mean?
In my head, the way I look at this, we don't necessarily need a leader. We need a leading idea. And right now we have a leading idea. We have the idea that hatutaki corruption, tunataka watu wafuate katiba, na hatutaki anyone living out of our measures. Tunataka hawa viongozi wakumbuke hao ndio watumishi.
Kitraure vile alifanya.
We are the bosses bro. Saizi gava inafaa kwa imetunini nasikiza hii show inashangaa boss bra. Group managing director akipiga announcement na believe inaweza kuwa tunaweza nyamaza kiasi. Wakisema attention everybody, munasikia this is exactly it bro. Sisi ndio CEOs wanaongea saizi. Gava inafaa kuwa imekaa pahali mazee.
Nasikiza ma CEO
Ruto anafaa kuwa ameweka sahani chini.
Nini chai ya 50 million.
Boss anasema nini? That's how it's supposed to be happening. But unajua imefika that kind of culture where we feel like these people are our bosses. So they feel like they can treat us the way they want with our money. Unapanga line ndio upatiwe check ya 10k. Na usifu mtu inaka token bro.
Unasifu fish kuswim.
Hiyo ni nini? Mazee umepumua vizuri leo, kazi mzuri. You know those kinds of things. So as we don't need a leader. And I feel like sometimes people get intimidated when they see someone trying to articulate these things, but I'm like, mimi ndio nimesema hii itakuwa role yangu until this star fizzles, because it's something that it won't be the hot thing forever, but I'm like, this thing has to be injected.
What do you mean it's not going to be the hot thing forever? You think this is just a wave?
No, not like that. I'm saying I'm not going to be the hot thing forever.
No, I'm talking about you and this era that we live in, this revolutionary moment that we're living in. You think it's a wave?
No, this thing is going to change. This thing is going to change the country, the way the country behaves, the way the country reasons.
Nothing stays the same.
Wachana na stuff. What we're seeing.
System, matrix, itatoka kwa matrix.
Remember, even as we speak, the way people used to preach in churches has changed based on
100%,
this.
100%.
Kitambo, people used not to talk about mental health and what churches, sermons now, people have, it's the first time I saw people in church calling young people to come and to pray for them for political activism, for social change, bro. Youth wanakuanga wamedharauliwa in any setting. Wanakuanga wamerelegatiwa kukua wale wase, you guys know nothing. This time as people are stopping everything to need the youth.
That's cool, Cass, but let me ask you, for real, bro. Unajua vile Kenya, first of all, Kenyans, we're a peculiar bunch.
Right.
Yeah, the next thing is going to get our attention.
Yeah.
So I'm asking you easily, before we take a short break.
Yeah.
Do you think Gen Zs will relent?
No, they won't.
They're not going to relent until what?
Until we find good governance. Until we need corruptions. Because now for me, this thing started, but now it's personal for me. I'm like, I'll just deal with this until I could make it my long life thing. Because remember, that's why I also don't want to term it Gen Z. We might be Gen Z, but then we won't be young forever. Bro, if you figure me 10 years now, I'll be 36. And I wouldn't nimeacha kukua youth, and then there'll be a newer crop. But socially, the way we look of the art, because remember, there's also writers who are writing today, fiction that is inspired by the times they exist in. Kuna wase wameandika mangoma around this time. Remember, there's a time when we used to think the church was the one that was doing a lot of the social justice, but in this particular movement, you've seen the mosques come up. A lot of the things that are going to have to be done in terms of like our social re-engineering our mental, like just changing our cognitive needs will have to be different. That's why I'm saying, while this thing might look like, it will die down after president has assented to certain things, there's a lot of, it will have like a nice shock into like 5-10 years.
So you're saying this is a revolution of the mind?
It's both physical and mental.
That's amazing. Yo, Casmuel Makoure. Wow, he's in the building. Man of the moment. We're so happy to have you here, bro.
Happy to be here.
Tukirudi, I want us to touch on this angle of the conversation. Umesema, this thing where, you cannot stop an idea whose time has come. You were saying something like that. Now, from my research out there, I like reading.
Yes.
Wanasamanga, there's also a detriment to that thought process.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I can actually give examples to several countries out there where leaders, due to their bad governance policies, really create anger for society. And then we had crooked leaders coming up.
Yeah, for sure.
While they take advantage. Mafala, we had what are those type of leaders called?
Ata Egypt, bro.
Ata Egypt.
Walichapa ile staff waka-oust mtu. Wakafanya revolution. Alafu yendi akarudi after.
So, do we actually risk something like that happening?
No,
so I want you to expound on that. Tukirudi.
Okay. This is the Modern Vibes on Vibes Radio.
Nilikuwa nasema, just like you mentioned, even in a country like Egypt, we've seen these stories happen all over the world where unacheki due to bad leadership, leaders sasa wanaacha gap hapo hivyo. That's what we used to say playing rugby. Wanaacha gap. And now because of the anger in a society, for example in Kenya, now we have crooked leaders coming up. And then they're going to lead us down a rabbit hole that we wouldn't even want to get there.
Absolutely.
Ukichiketa sasa hivi wase wana ride kwa hii wave ya Gen Z quote unquote. I mean, you already told us this thing is not even about Gen Z, it's just about society in itself, right?
Absolutely.
So kuna watu wana ride kwa hii wave wanasema, I'm the leader, I'm the commander. Do we risk because of this? But yet you also said this conversation doesn't need a leader. But do we risk having crooked Kenyans taking advantage and then of course being even worse off leaders than we had in the previous past?
We absolutely risk that, and I feel like part of the conversation, people saying we're leaderless, we're tribeless, we're partyless, we're fearless, those kinds of things, is a sort of insurance against those kinds of things. Because if I say that Cass is a leader, I could very easily be called to State House tomorrow and be told to call this thing off. The way Maandamano used to be around a cultic personality, for example, a guy with influence like Rao, who has so much influence, who says resist, and Mazes shares for Safaricom Planet or for a particular Nini Planet, those kinds of things. If we have one leader, you could neutralize them. You could, God forbid, get rid of them. You could corrupt them with money and whatnot. But now imagine everyone is now a leader. Everyone's saying, it's the ghost of Jacob Juma and whatnot. And that is the kind of insulation. However, on the flip side, because there's a political movement happening and it's not at unique. Yes, we might be peaceful, but there's an uprising of sorts. Of course, there are people who would swing into these chaotic times, like you see people sending goons and loot. People bring their own agenda. But right now, there's people who have money who are awash with money who could come in and say we want to broker power. As we are, sisi tuko hapa fighting for the good cause, we're doing this because out of the goodness bottom of our hearts, kuna msee anaweza come to a swoop in afanye kitu, because government is also intends to continue. The people who believe this thing is about stability, but other people are trying to make it look like we're pushing for anarchy and we want the country to burn, which is not the truth. So that's the two sides of the coin, but I'm still of the idea that we do not need a leader. We still just need to push for it, because ideally what we need to have is good systems.
Yeah.
If you have a good system, for example, if you come and tell me that when you get into studio, come and press this particular button.
Yeah.
If that button is working well, we know it's routed, we know power is good. Even if it's a cabbage, bro, you would elect a rat. It comes... The function is to press the button. But if you ndo tunasema now, if you fix the systems, even if a bad person gets in, the system can run.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're cleaning up the systems.
Yeah.
And then now, in Kenya, we now need good systems and good people. But I usually am a proponent of great policy, great structure, and then now we can deal with form, where we're just like, this is when the system runs, and these are the ramifications. But saizi unajua unaweza pata tu mtu ameshikwa na 200 million. Unasikia story hiyo ni nini? Ati we've lost 2 billion in a day. In a place where we have
every day.
Bro.
2 billion every day. But cheki Joe, Makoro ngoja kuulizaje? Hapo story ya leadership, nasema ni fearless, ni headless, ni leaderless. But at the same time kuna mzanalia, kuna jinsi na feel ndio insurance ile wako nayo. But kuna watu wengine na feel ni kama hiyo pia ni trust issues.
It could be, and it could be both, to be fair, kwa sababu remember
hatuaminiani.
Which is okay, but the people we are fighting are people who won our trust and then abused it.
Right.
You see where that problem is? So kuna msana niona hivi anaona amevaa suti. Haoni a young person, haoni a fresh, haoni mseka anaona
amevaa suti.
Uni ule politician.
Anafanana na
politicians wanakaanga hivi. Wameni compare na kila mtu in the past. Na wanaka hivi wanaona this politician acted this way.
Yeah.
They used to talk like this. They were eloquent. They looked very promising, and then
kwa hivyo unajiona kwa history.
So mimi najiongelea tu. That's what I will see how people. And I'm like, I would understand why someone would have a problem, because to be fair, hata mimi vile saizi niko na good intentions. Probably it's just good intentions. Probably it's because I've not seen that sijui money, I've not gotten into the thing and realized, hey man, this is maybe how rotten it is. Nimefika hapa and those kinds of things. Of course, personally I'll vouch for my own integrity, and I'm like, that's why I won't stop. I'll just do whatever it is I believe. I'm like, one, I will not touch a politician's money.
Right.
Like, I've been called by political parties.
I'm sure you've been offered even money.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
I'm not taking any meetings. I've refused kabisa, because the moment I align myself politically,
it's over.
It's over. Not even. It's over for my contribution. It become the ends of my contribution to the movement.
Right.
While I could think about it in the flip side, that if I'm trying to gain any political mileage, this would be the best time for me to align myself with a political party that has a kind of influence and money that I want.
And is there a party that you've identified maybe in future you'd consider aligning with?
Not for now.
Not for now. Yeah.
Because at this particular point in time, the work I'm doing, ni kama kuuliza mtu wa class 2, unataka kufanya nini kampo? Yes, atakwambia a pilot, cute and all, but bro, bado hajalan kucheza piano.
So let me ask you, now speaking of aligning and parties and political ambitions, in the previous elections, many young Kenyans didn't even register to vote. And even if they registered, they didn't even vote. Yeah. Do you think all these conversations will happen?
Take your time.
It's gonna happen. Let me take my time. Yeah. Wait, focus. Yes. Do you think? My guys, we have cast in the building, Badman. Do you think it's going to motivate young Kenyans to engage in, civic engagements, electoral processes?
Right.
Yeah.
I think so.
Are we going to see more guys voting?
I think so.
Yeah.
And I actually hope so. This thing, the good thing is let's bestow every good thing upon it.
Yeah.
Because hakuna haja ya kuwa the guy who says, oh, I don't think so. In my head, I was telling a few friends, it would be very nice for us to go into voting in August. Tukiwa hivi mioto, tukiwa hivi tribeless, tukiwa hivi nini, because the thing that kumbuka the political class has united. Bro,
you always remind us.
The state has money, the state has guns, the state has the power, bro.
That's true.
So but we have the people. We have the
people, and that's why I'm saying as the state is trying to, the way we're doing this, and that's why I'm like, we have to inject. Mi naambianga wase, nikipatana na side mirror ya nduthi yenye inakaa iko na camera ama msee ana reverse hivi nioneka light hapo na inject mazena wakumbusha the fight is against corruption. We are not the enemy. I'll say it on any avenue because the state can be awash. It can just water this down in terms of propaganda. It can go back to the churches and do whatever it always done in the churches, talk to the pastors, tell them, preach this kind of message, those kinds of things. While we might, that's why I'm saying if we vote while we are still fresh, it's very possible for us to curb tribalism at the end. But now if we give it a lot of time, remember there are naysayers. There are guys who had lost, older guys who tried this kind of thing and failed, and they're waiting to show us, hey, listen, you guys are losers. We told you, we tried, we failed. You see, when it started, we were being called judicial wankers back in David Lee. Yeah, so now we did it. There are people who are also trying to project their failed dreams on the movement.
That's crazy.
They are not in the country, they never come to the streets, but they're telling us this is what you should do. We're also saying, hey, listen,
we know some of these guys.
Yeah, we're like,
but when you know them,
you don't shout at us. You're just consistently shouting, saying, oh, and this one and this one and that one. Yeah. I'm like, tulia, tutasoma, tunaweza soma, tunaweza elewa. It's okay, you're welcome.
With the numbers that Gen Zs have, I'm saying young Kenyans. Do you think tunaweza come to State House come 2027 or at least influence somebody? Hata kasi young,
bro. Tunaweza come to State House 2027 without touching the existing. Like Raila could have his people, Ruto could have his people. Tunaweza chapa hawa say.
Are you serious?
With the numbers?
Yeah, our numbers are crazy.
Unless at they unite. If we just take, I'm not even talking about young people. I'm talking to 18 to 25.
What?
If we do 18 to 35.
Oh, it's over, bro. It's over.
Asubuhi na mapema.
As in, and that's why I'm saying if we think about it that way, we kill that politics for sijui lazima you be awash with money. Tuseme tu, sisi tunataka kuchange kitu, tuseme we are reclaiming this thing as youth. Akuna asubuhi 6:30 tunahesabu hivi bafo but tunasema for everyone tunatengeneza nyinyi muhesabu 2. As in tunaweza ichukua asubuhi.
Sasa okay, nikoda kuulizaje bro? Vile umesema hapo kuna story umesema hapo fit sana. Utaki history ni kama Gen Z juu bado pia nyinyi mtagrow nini. Na kuna Gen X pia wanajaribu kuuliza sana swali zingine mimi zingine nashindwa kujibu like. Pia mimi ningetaka kujua why do Gen Z wana keep on wakitaja story ya Jacob Juma kwa history?
So when we talk about Jacob Juma, it's not that he's a saint. Right. It's a thing we know very well that this guy was a crook. It's just like some of these guys who are speaking on spaces. Tunajua hawa ni wezi. You brokered a deal that got Kenya into trouble. But you set a thief to catch a thief. So because he started snitching, bro, my enemy's enemy temporarily is my friend.
It's true.
That's also a very problematic thing which you might need to think about in terms of this revolution. Jacob Juma alikuwa na snitch. He was left out of deals, but he gave us such a wealth, such a deeper insight because he was in the table. That's why we're saying wewe ndio umetusponsor. Quite literally, if you think about it, tunasema tu ni wewe umetusponsor. Kwa sababu kasi hii ukora yako hatungekuwa on the streets. And then Jacob Juma, he's pointing out very accurate things. It's just like me saying, hey, listen, this is my friend. This is how he behaves. It does not matter. So we are not actually saying we've not sanitized him, we've not made him a saint. He's our point of information because he's identified very keenly, correctly a lot of the dealings that his politicians do.
At the same time, ukiangalia for example 2016 7 April Juma aliandika hivi. But ukienda kuingia kwa hiyo nini yake hiyo FB yake hiyo ya ukweli haiko. So wanasema what if kuna watu wanatumia bado hiyo kama another platform, wanaitumia wanaweka mambo zao afu wanasema ni Juma aliandika nasi ndio hii nini yake.
It's also the same way tunasema sijui the Simpsons never get anything wrong. Unaona vile wazi natokea. I'm like it's good for the movement.
It is,
it's good for you for the moment. It doesn't hurt anybody. Hakuna kitu imetokea yenye inaharibu jina ya mtu about from hizo tweets. Hakuna kitu imetokea yenye ina so division among the people. Hey bro, do anything. It's just like writing a movie.
But ikuwe hard kwa Ruto juu kila kitu na point
but tuko hapa kwa sababu ya serikali yake. And a lot of the things that we are, because remember we're not attacking Ruto as a man. As a man ni sawa. we are attacking his actions,
his policies.
Bro, me, I don't have a problem with how he looks, how he walks, how he talks. I'm not interested in body shaming the man.
Yeah.
I'm just interested in his actions, and his actions have repeatedly shown he doesn't really care about us.
Speaking of actions and not caring about us,
yeah,
kitu nime notice where we're going as a country, whether the system likes it or not, Kenyans are becoming very expressive.
Right.
Unaget, now what wanna take advantage of their own platforms, social media, Now, if you look at even how Maandamano has been going about, we're probably going to see more Maandamanos, more picketing in the future.
Yeah.
What's your advice to the president with regards to how police deal with Kenyans out there picketing? Because things are never going to be the same. Watu sahi, nilikuwa nachika tamsa nilikuwa nasema, bro, the next big Maandamano is about the Pride Month.
Absolutely.
Yo, society is changing, man. So how should the president balance, I mean, a situation where Kenyans want to, express themselves, people want to live their own lives. How does he balance, all these differing opinions and just let people be?
He shouldn't balance. That's not on him. Sometimes you also just give him too much.
Okay.
What to afford a constitution? Because the next reform, if he refuses to reform it, the citizens will reform it. This work that we're doing, MPs are the ones that are supposed to be doing it. It's legislators. See, we are doing it as a people. Because Article 1 says, we, the people of Kenya, all power belongs to people. It's our sovereignty. So we, the people shall, mandatory. The people may, optional. We will. The people will fix it. It's not even about, you seen like, and Kenya is a fairly peaceful country. When we are occupying, we don't occupy to CG for it. We occupy on issues. When our sisters marched in March against femicide, it's because they were being killed.
Of course.
When people marched in 2020 for COVID Fungua Nchi, is because of that. When people marched for CG Pride, when people marched, it's never been just for the sake of marching. That's what I've loved about Kenya.
Okay.
We don't just do chaos for the sake of chaos. Right. It's a proper expression of what we're going through.
Thank you. Niko kuulizaje bro. Kuna historia ya Oburu.
Yes.
The wise man ni elder.
Yes.
Tuwezi mwassume pia.
Yes.
Alikuwa anajaribu ku reason. Akasema kasa kuna historia watu wanasema Ruto must go.
Yes.
Unage anauliza vijana, okay, ni saa Ruto must go.
Yes.
But unaona mdogo wake pia Gachagua si ati ni vile ni mpo.
Yes.
Kwa sababu Gachagua ko shamelessly akisema nchi ni ya shareholder, unanishika? So he's not good for the country.
Right.
So the only people that take over kulingana na vile na reason ni masoja.
Military.
Ni military. Na kiangalia vile military worldwide wale washa take over the countries vile imekam kukua. Apart maybe from Taure na Ijana hapo nini Bukinabe hizo area. Ndio watu wanaongea different sana. But the rest akina Egypt, akina Sudan imekuwa wanachukua alafu na mambo inarudi tena pale tumko mnafight democracy.
Right.
Alafu lakini masojua kichukua kwanza democracy uisha. Tunarudishwa tena from point A. So anauliza, don't you think hii mambo tusipoiangalia rada sana itaisha tena kwa point A, whatever we've been fighting for since the independence tunailostisha juu ya kitu mdogo tu hivi.
But si hata corruption iko na the same effect. Time sahi tuko hapa tuko kwa the same situation. Hiyo situation ni wanajaribu kutuambia tuko hapo already because of their corrupt things. Sijui mbona
masoja wakachukua over. What do you think masoja wakachukua over hii?
Masoja watachukua. Nobody is going for a military state, but if it does, if that's what it needs, so be it, bro. But I'm not calling for anarchy. The thing I'm calling for is proper governance. Na sijui politicians wanakuanga so dumb. There's a tweet who said Droid alisema, when it comes to taxation mnatu compare to Singapore, but when it comes to accountability mnatu compare to Sudan na hizi countries zingine. And I'm like, it's the same thing. What makes you think we cannot call for a referendum to change the constitution, tuseme tunataka kupiga kura kesho na tunataka all corrupt officials ifanyike hivi? Si lazima tuchome nchi. We are not interested in tijite. When I say Ruto must go, I'm not saying ati Kasmuel must be president.
Yeah, we're not trying to topple the government.
Kuna bro.
Let me ask you. Every time the government has a problem with the people. How and not just Ruto's government,
right?
Even Uhunye, Kibaki, Moi, they usually call upon Rao and Asamayo, come through Rao, let's work together so that you tone down the temperature.
Right.
That's exactly what's going down right now.
Yes, it is.
Guys, will they be successful?
Oh, bro, because remember, right now, when you see them uniting, that's what I'm saying. When you see them uniting, akuna hata shareholders hawajui kitu ya kufanya as alleged shareholders. Ndio maana wanakam pamoja because if they knew, remember these people thrive on making the others small.
Yeah.
So what benefit does it help? How does it benefit Ruto that Raila has influence? It does not benefit him. But now they're coming together. You remember Lee said in his biography about, was it Moi, that if you go into a forest to hunt for jackals or wolves with your dog, you're the stranger. Because these guys are cousins, bro. Yeah. It's the same thing with these politicians.
Yeah.
That these guys are misising your strangers. But we are at this unique turning point where they've realized they cannot divide us. They tried tribe to mesema we are tribeless. They tried, and that's why I'm saying this Gen Z narrative was the new tribalism.
Yeah.
They were trying to you give a dog a bad name so that you can kill it. So that useme watoto wetu wanafaa tuwafundishe kubehave vizuri. But that's why I'm saying let's now disabuse ourselves. Gen Zs are the vehicles. It's a force that's driving the thing, but it's not. It's a Kenyan thing because we are supported by millennials, Gen X, even boomers, bro.
Yeah,
they're just like, go for it. You guys are doing things which we've never seen before.
Right.
You know,
easy, man. So I want you to talk to Kenyans to Kirudi.
Yeah,
give me 5 minutes of your time.
Right.
To bunch of guys. Remember, unaweza piga simu on 0719012700. Right now, as we wrap up the hour, how about some Judgment Day Raging Fire?
Hey.
Big tune, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, mazenye. I feel like it's Judgment Day in Kenya, bro. Bro, let me tell you, Badman, it's about the mental, cause the revolution is happening in the mind.
The revolution is happening. Kevo, awakening.
Yeah.
Mindset, change the mindset.
It's true.
Game the mindset.
Yeah.
The World War III, if I twin weapons.
Yeah, it's true.
Akili.
Of course. And your phone.
That's the battleground.
Isn't it? So, unaweza piga simu right about now, 0719012700. Guys, we've been hanging out with Kasmo Makure. He's a visionary leader and very passionate about advocacy, and we've been talking about the cost of freedom in Kenya, manze. So ka uko na swali, uko na reaction, any kind of comment, nini unaweza piga simu. Phone lines are open once again, 0719012700.
Nobody can stop reggae.
All right, Alano, good morning.
Morning Kevin.
I'm very fine, Alano, mazo. Unaendeleaje? Weekend ilikuwa poa?
Ndio sana, weekend ilikuwa fiti.
Umesikia nini kwa nikibonga na Kasmo Makoure, uko na comment, swali yote, anything?
Nimesikia huyo, nimesikia jamani mzisa. Nimesikia mpeni mzisa sana, okay. Ukikumbuka kuna tatizo lilikuwa simu. Nikasema the best thing our president can do for this country is to resign.
Yeah.
Wallahi, don't say to liberate. Afadhali tu resign, okay. Because ukiangalia mambo vita zinaendelea hivi, okay.
Manzejo, vitu kuna noma mob, but umecheki sasa amesema sijui kuna austerity measures zenye zinakuwa implemented, alifaya cabinet, vitu kama hizo, bro. Don't you think you're a step in the right direction? Kwa hivyo umesema hapa hivi the only way ni tufagia hawa se wote manze. Let's start afresh.
The only way in the way out.
Kabisa. Just amekuwa game na mtu anaanza good kabisa.
Alano, unadhani Gen Z wanafaa kuweka msee kwa ballot come 2027? Ama young Kenyans generally tu wasewa young?
Tunapata tempo. Voka alafu mimi nilikuwa kusema tunaona vile huyu ile director ile tayari ile tamasi wa smart bana. Yani ase ninapamwa gani together moja.
Shukran.
Yeah.
Alafu kuna kingine mleta madam mwingine aligonga viti. Sanye enye vongeni kama watu wa standard mungeleta wase wote.
Yeah.
Ndio sasa watu liberate jote na smart sana bukenye ase ndo napata
ile. Asante sana mazi. Big up Alano, big up sana of course the Standard Group for this amazing opportunity. Mwalimu Sekete.
Mwalimu Sekete, one and only from always Narumoru Massive.
Karibu sana man guy. Umesikia tumekuwa tukiongea na Kasmo Makoure, tumekuwa tukiongea story ya the cost of freedom. Swali yako ama comment ni gani bro? Umesikia hiyo vibe yetu?
Mimi kwanza rambira zangu kwanza niseme kwa ile kashfi imetokea hapo ilikuwa wapi hapo Nairobi hapo hiyo hapo kwa mabagi za magunia hizo. Pia nasema sorry sana kwa familia. Then kirudi kwa topic ni
oh my goodness, we just check our connection. Wacha tubonge na Waziri. You gotta let go, bro. Waziri, good morning.
Hey, good morning Wazito, niaje?
Tuko salama sana waziri. We have Marco Ure over here, the very amazing, vibrant. The guy has a bright future, eh? Sema.
Nasikia kijana hapo bana anawaka moto si mchezo bana.
I'm telling you.
Firebrand.
Jana ni Firebrand bana, naweza fanya hii country tuichome saisa hii bana.
Ana makasiriko.
Hiyo ni hata huyo ni wrong number huyo bana. Hawa jamaa wanafaa muogope bana.
Wanabonga fiti lakini.
But umesikia vibe yake, so what's your thought process waziri?
Kwa nataka comment tu kwa first hii dialogue yenye tunachochwa nayo hapa mbele. Unajua watu walipoingia street hakuna point ulisikia watu wakisema tunataka si watu wenye wako kwa position wakuje ati we need a national unity government. Hakuna discussion watu walikuwa nayo kama hiyo. Hakuna. So hii story ya dialogue ni chocha. Na just as nani amepoint hapo ya kwamba these guys are the same, they are cats. Unajua the family of cats, as a lion, as a chui, wote. So wanajuana kwa vilemba. So our cry was not that kukue na government of an inclusive government, bring Nani on board, Nani is not. No, that is not what we were addressing.
Yeah.
The issue is the oppression, the issue is this kind of system that we don't want, and the corruption and all that. So national dialogue hizo tu ni story na we as Kenyans hatutabui kabisa mambo ya national dialogue. Secondly, nimesikia hapo youngster akisukuma kabisa agenda ya Gen Z and and the probability what I wanted to say is you see this coming election at 2027.
Right.
Inafaa hizi macheo zote za MCA isipewe mtu above 35.
Interesting. Yeah.
Zote zisipewe mtu above 35. Zikuwe tu yani mavijana. So one thing that kiongozi hapa anafaa kutufanyia ni kusukuma mavijana wachukue tu yani mavitambulisho mase. Hiyo tu ndio.
Right.
Going to the city is something else, and going to the election body is another thing. So kitu naweza ambia kiongozi hapo, hiyo ndio agenda sahihi anafaa pia ashikilie maze, ajaribu kusukuma vijana wachukue vitambulisho come 2027. Hizi old rugs zote zenye tuko nazo kwa serikali zote ziende nyumbani maze.
Waziri, let me ask you, do you think Kasmuel should get into active politics at this point? Kwa sababu
no,
kwa game already.
He should not. That is a very wrong move. But
are you serious? Damn it. Waziri, Yeko, please get me back, Waziri. David.
Yeah, ni aje Kevo.
Chilling, man. Zamini ko pop hivi na Badman, and of course the one and only Kasmuel Marco Ure is also here with us.
Salimia mgeni wetu na salimia Badman hapo. So mimi nimeangalia conversation vizuri nikakumbuka Bafu Chafa alikuwa hapa.
Yeah. On Friday.
Kwa hii meza na akatuambia ilikuwa na mabombe. Sasa leo nimeona bombe ni nani?
Bombe ni Badman. What is going on? Oh, nice. Continue.
The only issue niko nayo hapa, I need ningependa tu watu watatu wakuje kwa hiyo meza.
Who's this?
Mtu kama Megwe, madam wetu Megwe. Na kaza hapo.
Oh wow.
Na sasa
mtu kama Megwe tulikuwa naye last week bro.
Ana land.
Nasema in the same table.
Okay.
Like a conversation.
Yeah. Because you know, kila mtu akona ideas zake amekamnazo. Kuna mtu ametupatia vision ya hii nini maandamano tumeiona, na mtu ametupatia vision yake pia vile ilikuwa. And tumeona kuna bits and pieces. We need it to yote iko in one table vile iko. Right now uliza.
Do you umesikia vile Kasmuel amesema whenever we see politicians working together, especially opposition na gava, we need to be very scared. So I think last week pia tuliona kwa front page ya magazeti walikuwa wanasema there's a possibility of a grand coalition government in the works. Unaonaje maneno?
For me I think that but it's dangerous. Right now we're in a danger zone because unajua those people wakikaa pamoja hivi there's something cooking. There's something cooking and the problem is the cook it and left to ingia na tujikalisha hapo, then we all done. Itakuwa tu kama wakati wa Unye. One baba aliingia na kasalimia Unye, hiyo story iliisha, tukafinyika, tukaongezewa, tukafanya hakuna kusonga. So right now we should stick on our side. Kama wameamua kwenda dialogue, let them go. Waende yao dialogue iko ni yao. Unaona?
but yetu tuko na stick na principles zetu. What we need is to change, and the next thing we should also push over na hii maandamano. We should push for IBC and what chukua ID, and we should have a very a party that people can identify with.
So young Kenyans should start their own party.
Yes, without a party, we are as much as they're saying everything is partyless, tribeless. We need something that can identify every youth semenaje. Ule ni mtu unajua. That's bogi yangu, ile ni bogi ya watu fulani. So for me, if we don't do that, we are at a point will be leaderless, and we'll have no vision or maybe direction or where we are going.
So thanks David. Victor.
Hello, morning Jeff.
Morning to you Victor. Kev na Kevo Badman. Tuko na our guest today, Kasmuel Makoure. Umesikia vibe yetu? Talk to us.
Yeah, I appreciate Manze. That guy is smart.
He's very smart,
and articulate issues very well. Now, what I'd like to comment, as much as we Gen Z to go focused on the goal, hatutaki kuleta opportunists on board.
Yeah, we don't want opportunists. Yeah, true. Na kuna wengi.
Yeah, there are a lot of guys wanajaribu ku hijack the course of the movement.
Yeah.
And I'd like to say, tukianza hizi message mingi hatutafika kwa goal yetu. Yeah, Kasmuel is a great guy. I've been following whatever has been going on. Na I try to focus on the agenda. Asianze message
Victor, let me ask you, ungependa Kasmuel join politics, bro? Because I feel like it's the right time for him to get into politics.
Personally, hata vile nimesikiza stories za Kasmuel, I don't think he'd be willing to get into politics.
Yeah, he actually said
because there are a lot of yes.
Because there are a lot of
I've been listening to all his stories kwa podcast nini, and him personally amesema he can't be willing to go down that road. Yeah.
All right, man. So, Victor, thanks. Where you at? Go Embama.
Thank you, guys. Yes, Embakasi. Thank you, guys.
Good stuff. Thanks. Skip them.
What? Niaje Kev Mascara.
We're good, Maze hapa hivi na Kevo Badman, Yego, and of course our super guest, Kasmuel.
Huyo Kasmuel tumesikia vibe yake iko fiti. Tumenaisika mbaya sana. Alafu ile ngoma ya Brida na BN ilikuwa fiti, maandamano.
Una like?
Ngoma imeweza.
Wacha tutaiweka kwa repeat. Kwanza tunaenda kucheza sasa anguka nayo.
Hey.
Alafu
sema skip.
Cheki sasa venye Ruto ndiye aliondoa ama CS alikuwa tutainia campaign, unakumbuka alisema ngati serikali yake itakuwa mama mboga na mse wa boda. Sasa tunataka atafute hao watu.
Yeah.
Na chukua kima watu opposition. Na kirudisha sijasaka mmoja. Wote walikuwa tu wazungu.
Sawa, asante sana. Skip them. Vibes Radio, good morning. All right, 0719012700. Richie Spice, Richie yako ametoka mkuu.
Morning Matara.
Fiti sana Richie, unaendeleaje?
Naendelea kwa sababu unaendeleaje?
Tuko salama hapa hivi na Kevo Badman, and of course mgeni wetu Kasmuel Makoure.
Nilikuwa salimia mgeni hapo kwa studio.
By Richie unaishi Mukuru
Nilikuwa namuuliza about the way na safari dimini ya kupikia mayuthi wenye wako kwa ghetto kwa mfano hawana kwa mtandao kama X ama Facebook. Sasa wajaribu ile mimi kuwafikia, wajaribu kwa educate pia tuende kwa movement moja itakuwa sawa.
Exactly. Richie nilikuwa nakuuliza unaishi Mukuru? Hello Richie Spice, unanisikiza? Unaishi Mukuru kwa Njenga uko ndo home?
Niko Mukuru sahi.
Sasa hiyo story ya Kwari inaendeleaje maze? What's the latest? Hizo mwili zilipatikana huko hivyo.
Morning.
Oh, I think the network is kind of messy. Yeah. So let's take a short break. Alafu tukirudi, I guess we're going to wrap up. Umesikia hizo ma comments that people were saying, he probably doesn't want to get into politics. Kuna hiyo story ya MCA positions ziende kwa Gen Zs. There's also somebody saying Gen Zs, Kenyans, young Kenyans should just start their own party.
Absolutely.
Unajua, it's interesting. We had our friend, our brother, our senior kutoka Spice FM, CT Muga. He was here on our hot seat.
Right.
Akasema, listen, The only way this conversation is going to make sense for young Kenyans is if you start your own party, fail, get it wrong, come up with your own unique constitution until you take over power and then change how policy is determined in our country.
Right.
So maybe you can make a comment about that when we come back. Because again, Kasmel Makure is in the building. Our homeboy over here, Pevi tumekuwa tukibonga story ya, civic engagement amongst young Kenyans. Elevate tumebonga story ya, the future of young Kenyans. We're talking about 2027. We're talking about resignations IG Koome, vile cabinet and a whole lot of other things. But phone lines waso tumebonga na Kenyans out there, Gen Zs, ama niseme Vibes Nation. And kuna msema MCA, your position inafaa kukuwa ya Gen Zs. What are your thoughts?
Your position inafaa kuwa ya wase wanaweza fanya kazi, wanaweza deliver services to Kenya. But because we are the majority, youth is the majority, it should be a youth position. But I'm also of the idea that we are overrepresented.
Okay.
Cut down ni kitu to the
like which position?
8 provinces. Kila kitu bro.
Okay.
To the 8 provinces, tupatie 8 governors.
Yeah.
Ikienda sana sijui deputy nini. Make it lean. Wacha hiyo story ya sijui 27, hiyo ni greed. Tukae kitu like 9 bro. There's no way close to 50% of our budget is going to pay salaries, bro. For every so moja tuna make 70 bob ni deni, alafu 30 bob ni salaries. Hakuna vile tutawai
crazy.
Milioni lingine wasio wakiambia prezo, bro, tumesikia deni yetu ikigawanishwa kwa Kenya 54 million. Kila mtu analipa 3300 na sijui 80 bob. Tupatie hiyo pay bill.
Tuiseti tu sai. Hawezi kubali.
And I was like, kweli story juu ukipata kuna mabig pia elder kaki na Jimmy Wanjigi amekuwa kwa front line akisema jo atunanga lakini umtata akisema jo sareni jo hatuna hiyo deni mnataka kutoa.
Mimi siwezi eka Wanjigi na umtata kwa the same statement. Ni ngumu kwa sababu Wanjigi ako ligi ya Jacob Juma.
Okay.
Ni vile Wanjigi yako alive. So he's not he's part of the problem.
Si wasafi, si pamba.
Siwezi ka hivi yeye ndio alibroka hizi deals.
Na uone kama ni bado inakuwa na advantage fit, so we don't care kama ni ukweli, lakini at least ushatuchanua tutajua kuna. So how do we go about it?
I think part of it kitu ni kuacha tu run its course. Tuache kuiuliza maswali, ina happen. It happen na najua hii movement. Bro, when did we ever think ati youth wataungana wafukuze serikali waangushe bill, kitu yenye MP wanafaa kuwa wanafanya. Watu walikuwa wanaitangwa State House, unaambiwa fanya hivi. Wakenya wakasema tufanye hivi. So nasema tuache tu take its course, because part of this revolution that people are not talking about also the social aspects. Mnakaa hivi mnafikiria ati ni reject finance bill. Legalize iko hapo ndani, as I was saying before, that people are making such a silent but very potent campaign to show these people that this herb that you guys are trying to make to demonize people can use it responsibly. Absolutely. And you don't need to demonize it. People are advocating for social issues, bro. I've seen the way the feminists are coming up and the way they're distributing their politics, like in a challenge the structures that we've had in our minds, where we're just like, this is the place of the woman in society.
That's right.
Like we're getting educated, re-educated. We're questioning our spirituality to go like, why does it have to be an oppressive regime? Kwa nini ikuwe hivi? So we might look at it tunafikiria tu reject finance bill. That's just this kifuniko, bro. The revolution is this thing, and people are changing minds and hearts.
It's amazing you're putting it like that, kwa sababu pia we're seeing the revolution happening in offices. It's no longer work as usual.
Absolutely.
It's not business as usual. We're seeing the revolution happening in families. Watu wana question dad.
Are you my dad?
Yo, we was around last year. We can't see the money on the ground.
Unacheki. It's happening like that, but also we're going back to that sanctity of human life. Tumerudi hiyo point, and we were so heavily desensitized from deaths and whatnot, and now we're just going back. Remember mazee, not so long last year ulikuwa unatupa hizi vitu zako za Kenya, ukiona hiyo kitu unaitupa. Saizi everyone is hanging a flag, bro. We've gone back to patriotism.
Speaking of patriotism, young Kenyans, is it time we start our own party, bro? But we've been here. Nakumbuka ile time kina Rawa liko mayangu walikuwa na young
kuanzisha yao.
For me, another party maybe for young guys.
I mean, if you want to, yes, but right now it's too early for us to maybe politicize it, because we could lose the focus. The time is gonna come. If we're going into an election, we will very quickly form a party. We'll agitate for it to be registered and whatnot. But saisi time ya kuform party. I'm just thinking right now, let's just let the issues take the course. Tuiskume tu as Kenyans until it fully runs. Because saizi ni kama wase wako na kicha zile games zetu za gari. Ulikuwa unafanya space inafinya nitro boost. Tuko kwa boost. Msana niuliza is it nice tukieka gear 3? Tuko kwa boost. Wacha boost.
Keep it moving.
Tusonge tutapiga out story ya parties baadaye.
Is it you, bro, Kasmo, and your friends and many young Kenyans who are resonating with this conversation? Irresponsibility to oversight the government. People feel like opposition waliachilia, so it's the Kenyans online.
Kenyan people have become the official opposition.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, it is. Kabisa.
Is that also disappointing?
It is
an opportunity.
It's disappointing kwa sababu why then do we have these elected people? That's why then we say Ruto must go and he say it. We don't tunasema fanyeni basi represent us, because now government kufanya nini? You're the one who looks for the people who've been abducted. You're the ones who are shot by the police, and you're the ones who attend to those people. You're the ones who being asked for evidence. You're the ones who are still paying tax. Gavana kufanya nini? Wanatenga tu because bodies za Mukuru sijaona zikitolewa na serikali, ziko natolewa na youthman.
Yeah, man.
When we were being killed in Tao, Medics for Kenya, youthman, not the government. When tunapatiana EasyTix legal representation, youthman. Raising money for bonds nini gavana tufanya nini? Inatenga tu
as a Gen Z Malumistan ka juzi kuna mselibonga historia vile Prezali alituma condolences kwa ule nani pastor hapo Kiuna dad alafu alikuwa so disappointed na shindwa as in like what all did na flood what all did ishwa na watu wamedisappear unapatikana kwa huko viko makware hajaongea anything. As a Gen Z ulifeel jana double speak from
nilikumbuka tu there's only 2 tribes in Kenya, the haves and the have nots.
Damn, that's amazing.
Hakuna kabila. Sijuna kaidanganya wewe ni Mkikuyu, Mkale, haijalishi ni sisi ni maskini na
wako nayo.
Kiuna alikuwa nayo bro. He spent $500 million on cancer treatment last year. Alafu akasema God I'm heal, and not to speak ill of the dead, but they are hosting a private burial, but public contributions. Unacheki like this kind
of private burial,
but public contribution. It's the same thing that happens in government where people wanaenda wanachukua loans in the name of Kenya, wanaiseti kwa account yao, but sisi lazima tulipe. When the president, if he had any sort of like if he was presidential, he would have condoled with the family of Rex. He would have condoled with the family of 40 people that we've lost in the demonstrations. Ilim take 11, even the first time he said his condolences, took him about 11 minutes for him to condole with the families. He was just focusing on the property. So as Kenyans ukiaika chini ujidanganya ati huni mtu wetu, hakuna mtu wetu ni huo mse anaishi hapo kando yako. Tuache hiyo fala ya tribalism, tuache stuff ya classism. Kuna tu kabila mbili na saizi wametuonyesha that when their power feels threatened, they are willing to negotiate and they will dialogue with each other consistently. It will never be with the people.
So already wana leaders. Already wanafanya coalition. Unage watashikana waseme baba yo kwa prime minister tajenga siju constitution bla bla bla. Baba yako na watu like hiyo election ilifanyika 50% walikuwa tu 50-50 unaona. So bado kuna wale 50 wana feel out wa baba unanishika. Gen Z watafanyaje?
Sio Gen Z pia walikuwa watu wa baba bro. Kuna wengine walikuwa watu wa baba. Wacha nikushow kuna
3 years down the line Gen Z walikuwa na miaka 6.
Tuko imagine hapana. Mimi ni Gen Z. Think one of the old niko na 27 26.
So nani niko radar.
Mbaya sana. So a lot of us to vote pia, but tunakaa hivi tunasema Kenya is bigger than a personality. And that's why tunasema kama watu bado wangekuwa na influence walikuwa nayo, hizi maandamano zinge happen. Because kuna watu walisema wase wa baba hawakutokea, what do you mean wase wa baba hawakutokea, wase wa Ruto hawakutokea, what do you mean? Basi hii change imekoziwa na kina nani? The very same people wenye wamekozi hii change. Kwa nini akina baba hawakumobilize watu wao waonyeshe? Kwa nini Ruto hakuweza kumobilize watu wake? Because sisi ni wa Kenya na we will always take the position of the Kenyans. Tukikaa hivi tukumbuke sisi ni wa Kenya. Hakuna kitu
political conversation. My guy, Cuz, what's your rallying call to Kenyans out there listening to you?
Don't give up. Don't give up. When the Constitution says the people of Kenya, all power belongs to and sovereignty belongs to the people, it's talking about you. Wemse unanisikiza kutoka which slum, unanisikiza kutoka Maju, kutoka wapi, it talks about you. Na kitu isikudanganye that whatever contribution you have is too little. Msana uliza sijui who's funding. I've had a person, the most impactful person who drove me to go for maandamano, the last maandamano I went for, is a guy called David. Alintumia 100 bob. Akaniambia, accept this as my contribution. I can't make it to the streets today, but I'm with you. You're so moja bro. Ilikuwa like mimi hata ikue nini naenda maandamano leo cause there's a Kenyan who firmly believes in this cause. Usikae chini ufikiria lazima sijui kwa interview kwa nini, peana maji, tokea maze puliza tu firimbi, tutoroke tukimbie pamoja because we are fixing this nation. Imagine what we've done in a month. We'll change it. Na usikubali watu wa sow seeds of division along tribes, along nini. The politicians are gonna try to do it. Waseme Hustler versus Dynasty, Kikuyu, Kale, wajaribu kufanya kwa nini lazima uongozi ikuwe kwa kabila moja. Usijaribu ikuwe about kabila. It's all about meritocracy. Now what the things we are fighting against, corruption, tunahakikisha tuko na good austerity measures and eventually good governance. Kwa sababu hizo vitu zote zikiwa, tutakuwa na chakula, tutakuwa na pesa kwa mfuko, akili zetu zitakuwa sawa and we live longer and happier. Give up.
So, but kesho, my last but not least, less than a minute. Kesho ni Tuesday.
Kesho ni Tuesday.
What is it all about?
Hey bro.
Kesho ni nini nafanya watu watoke kila leo kuna sababu mpya.
Tunatoka kwa sababu ya Kenya. Kenya ni sababu enough. Tunaweza hata toka sahi, hata nimetoka kutweet kwani kesho haifiki. Naweza toka hapa sahi ianze. Kenya is reason enough. Maze there are still so many things we are occupying everything kwa sababu kumbuka it's gotten to the point where we've lost lives. Kuna mse hata waitembea tena out of this thing. Kuna mse maze alitoka akaacha sister yake, mamake, budake home na kurudi, amepatikana city mortuary ovyo. Kuna msali pigwa risasi 6 spinal cord yake sasa maze life haiwezi kuwa the same. Mimi mwenye niko na ability naweza kama hapa lazima ni inject niwakumbushe those people should not, they didn't die in vain. One life is one too many. So we have to go to the street as long as we can. Kwa sababu uwezi sema ati walikufa kwa streets, watoto waliuliwa, mtoi aliuliwa kwa keja. Uwezi jidanganya, usikubali mtu akuuzie uoga. We are exercising our civic rights. As long as we keep it peaceful and civil, tutafika mwisho.
That's why we wrap up this conversation with Casmo Makure. He's a revolutionary. By the way, Casmo, your profile is quite. Umefanya kila kitu. The only thing left now for you to get into parliament.
Na wimbo kama makale ka jenzi akapela. Akapela kuchapia maakapela.
Sitasimama maovu ya kitawala. Sitasimama maovu ya kitawala.
Tawala Kenya.
Tawala Kenya. What do you mean tawala Kenya? Get out.
Nanapigia iPhone.
Yo, Casmo, it's been real.
Thank you.
It's been real.
It's been absolutely lovely.
I'll invite you again.
I would look forward to it.
Be available for us.
Nice. For us, for the youth, for Kenya, bro.
For real, man.
Thank you so much.
Baby, how often are you at Gecko, man?
It's my joint.
Yeah,
it's my local. That's my local. I chill there quite a couple of times. I play concerts. We're having a concert coming up, but I'm not been able to promote the music because the country has been doing the thing. But I'll go back this week just to organize this because I've also not been working.
You're busy, man. That's what's up. Good job, bro. Alright, so I've got some Bob Marley song, boy, Buffalo Soldier, the remix. Because he's the one.
He's a Buffalo Soldier.
Buffalo, man.
High honors.
The vibes is right on Vibes Radio.